Hi, this is Sean Javeri, a student from Miami University, Ohio, and I'm here to talk about climate change and more effectively why it's not as much actions being done to prevent it, even though there's a scientific consensus that it does exist. This is a tough question to answer because depending on your opinion, you could come with different outcomes. But my personal opinion is that reason why nothing's being done is because the system that is the current climate and operating strategies of the government, population in general, and corporations are disinclined to change it. The prisoner dilemma, and to a greater extent, tragedy of the commons comes into play with this. Tragedy of the commons, it pretty much states that if a group resource is given equal access to everyone, but they don't have to share the same responsibility, it's going to be overused and depleted. For example, if five families of fishermen fish from the same pond, take out five fish per week, they do so for 10 years, all the while steadily declining the fish population in the pond. They finally realize it's the problem right before it's at a crisis point, come together, limit fish to two, which is maximum amount sustainable of the lake over a long period of time, and the minimum amount each family would need to eat for each week. Eventually someone's gonna overfish and the pond's gonna become barren or not be able to sustain five families over how many years it takes. This comes into climate change because, again, standard operating procedures have been going on for corporations for years, and now they're changing it because the long-term effects are now becoming visible, but they have had a long time to get used to and develop a habit, and they are inclined to continue with that habit. Of course, this ignores the idea of governmental intervention, but that poses its own problem. The relationship between corporations and government is very similar to one between a teacher and a student. If students, say, rebels against a teacher and chooses to disregard the school's dress code policies, there's only so much that a teacher can do because ultimately their own interest is tied to the student's interest, and if they don't back down, the teacher's going to run out of options eventually. Same thing with the government. But the big difference is they don't have all of the power in this relationship. Student can actually replace individual government off officers, so they are even more disinclined to go against it. Because at the end of the day, keeping the climate stable isn't a priority for the government. It's just to ensure the happiness of the people, and economy tends to be of a greater importance than the environment for most people. Of course, this all can and probably will change to a certain extent as we as a population start to see more and more of the negative effects of climate change. Yet I'm hesitant to think that climate change is going to become bad if that starts to occur. Because climate change doesn't directly kill people. It's the various phenomenons that are going to come from it. Ocean acidification, weather pattern changes, etc., etc. And the people probably in the future are going to focus on the problems that directly affect them and pass laws and regulations to prevent that rather than carbon emission, because that has a costly It's costly to put them in place. They harm their lifestyles a fair bit, and they don't have as immediate as effect as a lot of people expect.